there might have been an element of racism attached to it. So I'm just saying that like maybe we as Nigerians we value Osimhen so much we put him at an elevated status.
So telling me Osimhen should not be a top 10 centre forward in a list that Griezmann and
I did say this. That
you were wrong then. Just because Tosin agrees with you doesn't mean you're not right.
Not even what I did say this. You were there. Tunde was there also. That Osimhen, we even had it at top 3. You guys had Osimhen top 3 strikers in the world, and I said no. I'm not going to have Osimhen as a top 3 striker in the world.
Baraka de Salah, to all who celebrate, welcome to another episode of the Only Football Podcast. I don't know why Faruq is laughing as the de facto Muslim on set.
What do you mean by de facto? The actual Muslim.
Man. All right, Faruq is here and speechless. Right across him is Joba Ogunwale, editor-in-chief. Is that your title if I give you someone else's
Managing editor.
So, okay, you never even chief. You never even get chief fancy title.
Managing editor.
All right, so hopefully someday we can get the editor-in-chief. But we have to manage the managing editor for now. And right next to him, of course, is Ayoola Kelechi, whose role I'm not sure of.
Yes.
But tell us.
I don't know myself.
He's just working here. And, but let's leave it at that. Faruq is here, of course. And of course, we have a special guest on the show today.
Bring your boyfriend to work.
The Ronaldo to your Messi.
That's not true.
Okay, sorry.
Implied that one of us is Ronaldo.
The Jorginho to your Ronaldo.
Wow.
We've not found the click yet. Unfortunately, we've not found the click yet. But yes, you definitely know him from many things, but most importantly, one of the biggest internet shows of all time, sports shows of all time. From Crossfire, Tosin Abayomi is here with us. Graced us with his magnificent presence, and dare I say, big sure they will bleep that out.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, Tosin, yeah, welcome to OnlyFootball.
It's a pleasure to be here. I know that Joba has been on baby duty, but I came here to see how my boys are doing.
What's the correlation? Okay. I feel like this is a perfect opportunity to explain, to give some context to Tosin and then the rest of our viewers as well. Crossfire is a debate show, which is,
all this explanation for what? Who are you explaining
for context?
Who asked you?
For context.
Okay.
Crossfire is a debate show, which means, and you've heard us say a lot of wild things in the past. Lots of it I blame gospel for. Yeah, and if you need his address and number, I'll willingly provide it to you. Arrest him. But this is a football podcast, the only football podcast where we give our genuine thoughts and break things down. That being said, I still have a feeling we say wild things. Yeah, but Tosin, welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Yeah, so on the agenda today, we've seen a new Champions League winner. We've seen an historically one-sided Champions League final. And, the fallout of that, we saw the Super Falcons take care of Cameroon. We saw the Super Eagles claim our first silverware since 2013, which I'm very, very happy about.
I mean, if you celebrated the Conference League, you should celebrate the Unity Cup.
All right. But like you go host this show. Like. You know who go get road. So just host time, they go. Host time. Anyway, so we'll talk about that. So get to it. There's a lot to talk about on the show. You get the gist, as always. So welcome to episode 17 of the Only Football Podcast. Thank you very much for following us on the digital airwaves of YouTube and Spotify. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell somebody about somebody. Tell somebody about it. Sorry. But yeah, welcome to the show. Clap it up, baby. Woo. On that note, only one place to start. Champions League final. 5-0, PSG, Inter. How many of you predicted that will happen?
5-0 or PSG winning.
I predicted your route, basically. So
Please now.
No, you know what? Let me actually listen to some of the brighter. let me.
Okay, see, what does he is doing now? He had Barcelona to win the Champions League the entire tournament. Until Barcelona was knocked out in semi-final. And then just before the final, he picked between one of two teams to win. And now he's taking credit as if he has always backed PSG to win it.
Joba, let me hear your analysis first. Let me hear your analysis because I want you to obviously.
Obviously, I supported Inter. I wanted Inter to win. Even
Same
showed the Italian gesture, but I was disappointed with the way. I mean, it from the first minute you could see that PSG wanted it more. Inter struggled. I mean, they are always brilliant in transition, but Inter struggled to play out from the back. They could not undo PSG's press, and I also think that they showed PSG a lot of respect. Well, for whatever reason, I don't know why. I mean, they were happy. Yes, it was something that worked for them against Barcelona, but remember on the show last week, I said I don't think they are going to give PSG the same respect that they gave Barcelona. But I was really, really surprised that they were happy to sit back and all that. And Inzaghi also disappointed me because, yes, I think he's one of the best tacticians in the world right now. But I feel like you could see that it wasn't working in the first 10 minutes, first 15 minutes. So why not push your player up high and also attack PSG? But they were happy just to sit back. And I also think that one of the reasons why is that the legs were gone, especially the midfield. If you look at that midfield, I think only Nicolo Barella is in his 20s, Mkhitaryan is in his 30s, Akan also is in his 30s. So you could see that they were riding on their last legs going into that final. So it was really, really a disappointing performance from Inter overall, and the gap in quality between the two sides could not have been more clearer.
Looking at what PSG was able to do in terms of overrunning this team, are you as a Barcelona fan disappointed that you didn't, go with the same approach? Or let's say, what is the reason Barcelona couldn't do to Inter what PSG did?
Well, I think first of all, the pressure from the front for
my favorite type of pressure.
the pressure from the front for PSG is a bit different from that of Barcelona. I mean, we've seen videos of just how aggressively Dembele, Doué, and Kvaratskhelia were pressing. And for all Barcelona's credit, they create more. They don't pressure you to create. They create more of their own. Like when they get the ball from the back, then they build up and create. And you could also see that PSG has a better defense than Barcelona. It was clear. I mean, it has always been clear to start with. And then you also look at the fact that PSG's fullbacks, the way that they played, the way that they pressed forward, was very different from what Barcelona could do. Barcelona didn't have Koundé for that match, didn't have Ali Balde for the match as well. And there was no one really to pin back someone like Dumfries. We hardly saw Dumfries in the final because before he blinks... before he blinks, Nuno Mendes is on him. Before he blinks, Kvaratskhelia is on him. So there was nothing he could do. Same thing on the other wing. Hakimi was... he scored. So there were some times that he was in the box ahead of Dembele.
A lot of times.
Yeah, a lot of times that he was in the box ahead of Dembele. And Barcelona didn't really have that from their own fullbacks. And that really played a role in how... Because Joba spoke about how Inter builds up. What they usually do is to play the ball to one of their wing-backs from summer. But when those wing-backs are being pinned down in their own half or being pinned down close to their own box, that passing lane is gone. You can't do anything about it. So Inter didn't have any plan B, like you said. They couldn't go through the midfield because age gap, the largest age gap in the Champions League final history. So it's no surprise that they couldn't go through the midfield. 35-year-old midfielder, 30-year-old midfielder, 35-year-old goalkeeper, 35-year-old centre-back. They did not have the legs to compete with PSG.
Faruq, we saw in the round of 16, Nuno Mendes basically locked up Mohamed Salah and threw the key away. In the quarterfinal, whatever I did with Aston Villa's right wing, I don't care. In the semis, same thing with Bukayo Saka. And in the final, basically took Dumfries out of the game as well. Has there been a better fullback run in the history of this competition?
Marcelo.
This season, we've seen Hakimi equal the number of goals and assists in
I mean,
one
there was
competition.
Arnold-
I don't know,
Arnold
19-year-old during the corner taking quickly season. He was sensational.
But I don't think it was that dominant. But I
Also-
think Hakimi should come in with a shout
Arnold
for
have a
most
battery,
dominant.
man.
First is first. Except your name is now Faruq Ibrahim. You will shut the fuck up. Secondly, Faruq is a question.
And I said Barcelona. I was like, I don't understand.
And so, what are we doing here?
Sorry, I want to address something that Ayoola said. Do you think it's about the offense or the build-up, or rather that Barcelona just set up a easy puzzle to solve for Inter? That's what I think.
If you have something to say,
You mean
say
the
it.
eye line defense? Yeah.
Because it did not seem like Barcelona had any struggle, because Barcelona scored 7 goals in the tie.
6.
Six.
Oh, sorry, 6. Isn't that the one that scored 7? And Barcelona did not struggle to build up necessarily. They played. They did, like, Inter could not do much to stop Barcelona. But it just seemed like anytime Inter wanted to foray forward, they could do it. And it was because Barcelona, it was, okay, this is what we had to do. Try to free up Dumfries and let's just do it. It just did not seem, Inter did not have, they did not play anything complex against Barcelona, except maybe in the first, the beginning of the second leg.
Second leg, yeah.
Second leg, that's
The 2-0,
stretch,
yeah.
yeah. Other than that point, it did not seem like they had Barcelona on the
Yeah,
ropes. And
that's really what I've also said. Like, the way that he played was different to what PSG did, and the way that he played suits Inter's game more. The way that PSG pressed the fullbacks is different from what Barcelona did. We saw Gerard Martin sit back. We saw, I mean,
that boy is a terrible footballer.
But at the end of the day, he's who they had. They didn't have. If they had someone else, maybe the player would have pressed forward, but they didn't have that. So the fullbacks in that game, I think it was also Eric, a fullback.
Yeah, Eric.
Eric Garcia. That's not someone that you associate with going forward and pressing fullback. So, like you said, it was easy for Inter to solve because Barcelona just did not have what it took.
All right, Barcelona did not have what it took according to Ayoola. Tosin, your summation of this game. As someone that predicted PSG, even though you only took one of two choices.
I don't know why we had to go back to the Barcelona, but whatever. Let's look at. Joba made very, very valid points about the age of the midfielders. It's something that you've been subscribing to my teachings, basically about the rise.
Always in character.
The rise of athleticism in football. And I've said it, like, for certain reasons, people are missing that point. Obviously, we make jokes about it, but like the energy to run, the ability to operate in tight spaces, and just that natural flair, not that robotic feeling that Pep Guardiola has created in recent years. I think the freedom of expression that Luis Enrique has given his players, that was very much on display in the Champions League final. And the players were able to do things a little bit instinctively. And as a Barcelona fan, like, if we are making that comparison, you could see that sometimes still in our build-up, we always try to do that triangle passing from, and I'm not saying it's easy to read, but like over time, people have been able to study it and see that that's how Inzaghi was able to create his defensive system for players like Mkhitaryan and Hakan that are in their 30s to defend in space. Like, it is what it is. But when you have flair players who you give them the freedom to just go out and express themselves and have that element of athleticism there, they know that if they make a mistake, they have the ability and energy to want to run back. You understand? So I feel that football is gradually changing, and PSG just set an example of what the modern day football will look like going forward. And congratulations to them. And those were the things I was seeing that you couldn't see.
All right. Thank you very much. Great to see you. Speaking of modern day football, is there a problem in modern day football? And this, in this sense, there are now 11. PSG became the 11th. PSG completed the 11th treble in the history of European football. But I think they're the 7th team to do it or something like that, because a number of teams have to. In fact, let me just run down the list. Celtics, Ajax, PSV, Manchester United, Barcelona twice, Bayern Munich twice, Manchester City, Inter, and PSG. So that's 11. The points I want to make here now is that from the start of football to when Manchester United won their treble in 1999, there were 4 trebles. Since Barcelona won their first in 2009 to now in 2025, that's 16 years gap, there have been 7. Is that a problem? 7 trebles in 15 years seems like a problem.
No, to the fans of the club, definitely they won't see it as a problem. And why it's happening is because nowadays football has more super teams.
Also,
That's something that did not really happen in the past. I mean, you mentioned a team like Ajax, a team like Celtic doing the treble, and you can't imagine them doing it now because they are not on that level anymore. Even when a team like Real Madrid were great, even when a team like Real Madrid were great, they were not winning everything because they had some competition. Even when they became a super team, they still had Barcelona beside them. But when you have teams that dominate their leagues like Bayern, like PSG do, you definitely are going to see more trebles because that's what super teams are for.
also to win the treble, you have to win the European Cup or Champions League, and those competitions did not used to have 30-something teams playing in them. There are some seasons where only one team from a league like La Liga or the Premier League will play. Now there are just more teams, and because you stand with more chances to win the Champions League now because there are more teams competing. There was a time when it was only the league winners that would play in the Champions League, and so if you did not win the league, there was no chance for you to win the Champions League. So if you don't win the league one season, you can't win the treble next season. Now there's just more chances to do it. I don't think it's that deep, to be honest.
All right, I personally think it's deep, but maybe a conversion for when we have more time. But right now, let's look at what UEFA's technical observer group was able to put together in terms of team of the season and then the post-season Champions League awards for the 2024-25 season. The team of the season has Gianluigi Donnarumma in goal, Nuno Mendes, also of PSG. They said that's the correct
Same Mendes like a Yoruba boy. Which I
All right, Nuno Mendes as the left back, Alejandro Bastoni. Is that his first name?
yeah.
So Alejandro sounds Spanish.
Yeah, Sandro.
Alessandro Bastoni, and of course Marquinhos are the centre backs. Hakimi is the right back, also of PSG. So that's 4 PSG players already by my count. Vitinha is the 5th player here in midfield, along with Odumodu White, Declan Rice in midfield of Arsenal. Lamine Yamal and Raphinha are the 2 wide men, and the 2 up front, Ousmane Dembele and Desiree Doué. So that's 7 PSG players, 1 from Inter, 1 from Arsenal, 2 from Barcelona. Tosin, how do you feel about this?
The list is the list. Well, I feel there are some Desiree Doué, my God.
Player of the tournament, team of the tournament,
Team of the
Desiree Doué.
tournament, young player of the tournament, just showering him with accolades he does not deserve. It is what it is. I feel obviously when you win the tournament you get covered in glory, but I think that formation was wrong, especially if you look at how dominant Pedri was this season and how much of a catalyst he was for that Barcelona. If you want to go with two strikers up top, please don't tell me Desiree Doué did anything in the Champions League this season apart from the Champions League final.
The player I would have put is probably the top scorer of the competition. In Gurasi.
See, that's why I said that.
No,
like,
I'll probably maybe a foot. Maybe because Guarassi didn't reach the get to
he
the
did
final.
never reach
I'll
the
probably say
semi-final.
Martinez. Martinez scored like 8 goals
Who?
also. Martinez.
Lisandro.
Yes.
Lautaro.
Lautaro Martinez.
No. Put Lisandro Martinez that did not even play in this competition. Put him before you put Lautaro.
Okay.
I mean, Martinez was quite good in the league stage, and then because you have to look at it from the totality. You're not just looking at this from, let's say, maybe even in the semi-final, we still scored against Barcelona.
Lautaro scored 9 goals.
9
He
goals.
scored 9 goals. It was the third highest score. So, like, far be it for me to imply that he's not a good player. He had a good Champions League season, but
Why do we even have 2 strikers? Like,
that's what
Yeah,
I
I think
it just seems like a way to show in.
if I'm going by 2 strikers,
It's
what
the
is
PR of Desiree
the
Doué.
case? What is the case to be made for Lautaro and his 9 goals over Guirassy and his 13 goals? Or even Kane and his 11 goals?
Guarassi crashed out in the round of 16, or was it quarterfinal?
Quarterfinal.
Yeah.
I'd
Lost to
rather have
Barcelona.
Kane
Yeah,
and
and Kane also quarterfinal.
That's just me. I'd rather
So-
have Kane and Lautaro.
Quarterfinal is by the quarterfinal stage.
Yeah,
And then you
I
have
think
to-
it's from semi.
And
we can
also,
start
you have to
considering
consider the fact that, which I think it's something UEFA also needs to look at, because Guarassi played the playoff round. And
2 extra games.
2 extra game, and that contributed to
Yeah, to him.
I don't think
So,
that
which
matters.
it also makes my point. By the quarterfinals, if you play the playoff games, you would have played 14 games. 17 games in total.
Huh?
Eight league games.
Eight league
games in
Yeah,
the league.
yeah.
2 in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
17 in total. If you get to the final,
So in
you
round
went
of
through the
16.
Oh,
playoffs.
in total, okay.
That's what
I thought you meant by the quarterfinal.
Yeah, but the thing is that the playoff is the playoff. So it's just...
It is still a Champions League game.
Yeah, so we'll count it
Where
for
the Man
we'll
City
count it
lose?
for your
I'm
goals.
speaking
But
wow.
we can't really say we can't compare the 2 games in the playoffs to like 2 games in the
Okay,
quarterfinals.
Hurricane didn't play the playoffs, and he did he? I think they did.
No,
they did not. No.
Bayern did
They
not.
qualified automatically.
yeah.
Okay, that Bayern qualified automatically. Hurricane had 11 goals. What's the case for him to not because someone played 3 more games than him?
That's why.
Yeah, see, that's why I said my own is the semi-final because it's just 1 game after that. That's my own cutoff. Like the semi-final for any player of the tournament, whatever. The semi-final is where you can look at because it's just 1 game after, and anything can happen in 1 game. And teams are usually cautious in 1 game. So for me, the semi-final is the cutoff mark.
That's why I said Pedro. I think obviously overall his impact on that Barcelona team, the way they played.
Okay, Dozie, what is Pedro's case over Barella, who was fantastic throughout this tournament? And if I'm going by Yobo's logic, he made the final. So he went further than Pedro.
What is
No,
Barella's
semi-final
case
is
over
already.
Onyedika? What are you telling me? What's the meaning of this? Let's
I'm ready.
Like, who were the 3 midfielders that they
Just
said?
Declan Rice.
Vitinha.
By the way, what is Declan Rice?
I'll take out Declan
Rice
Rice
was
and put
excellent. Let's not do
Barella,
that.
to be
Let's not do
honest.
that.
I'll
Let's
take
not
out
do
Declan
that.
Rice and put
Let's not do
Barella.
that.
Two
Let's not do that.
free
Rice
kicks.
was excellent.
2 free
No,
kicks
just
is what it takes
no
now.
without the free
I'm
kicks.
not
Rice was
saying that
excellent.
Rice wasn't excellent.
Player of the tournament
But I'm just
excellent.
saying that
Team of the tournament
considering
excellent.
what Barella did for Inter.
I mean, if you're only picking 2 midfielders, Declan Rice is the top 2 midfielder in Champions League this season.
No.
If we're being honest.
I'll take Rice and put Barella, to be honest.
I'm not a case. It's not a case of Barella or Rice for me. My own is that Rice. You can't say Rice doesn't deserve to be there.
That's what we are saying.
Yeah, no, we are saying that it should not be just
In fact, we have said
midfielders.
it.
Remove Desiree Doué and put Barella. Remove Desiree Doué. If
No, we
Barella has
have
to be
said that
there.
inside those 2, Rice should not be there.
There's
I said that even if you make it 3,
There's an
I
argument.
might still
There's
agree
an
with you.
argument to be made that Vitinha should not be there. That João Gomez has been the better
João
central
Neves.
midfielder. João Neves has been the better PSG midfielder.
Any PSG midfielder plays much as a claim here. Fabian Ruiz can also say that he should be here. So, like, I think for PSG, you just have to pick one representative because you can't put all of you in this team. If not, you cannot.
So seven players
I
seems
bought my own
much.
Vitinha
I mean 6
stock
rather.
last
6
season.
PSG players. Was it 6?
But I think what's probably how Vitinha got in is he was the PSG player with the most player of the match awards in the tournament.
Like
Florian
I think
Wirtz
it's
led
because
the tournament.
the technical committee do not know the difference between João Neves and João Gomez.
Please.
No, seriously. For
Let
example,
me actually read fast before you
Vitinha
accuse
won.
technical committee of
Wait. Vitinha won it against was it Aston Villa or this thing? And it was very clearly that was was it João Neves?
João Neves.
That was clearly João Neves' match. It just seemed like he's a
Faruq.
short white man. and
I'm
this-
just supposed to believe that you saw
Everybody
Vitinha
was
better
raving about
than
everybody
the
was
technical committee.
everybody was raving about João Neves that
possible.
game. Everybody was raving about João Neves that game, and we just saw this time it was Vitinha the game. Like it was an outrage in that game.
All right, so Florian Wirtz, most player of the match awards 5. Although Leverkusen did not make it past this round of 16. If I'm not
That's the
mistaken.
star.
So probably that's why I didn't make it here. Lautaro Martinez won 4 of the awards, so probably his case to have made it as well. So congratulations to everybody involved. Champions League is done and dusted. Now all we can do is look forward to next season.
Except for Man U fans.
There's no Man U fans on the set.
They're
But-
listening.
yeah, they're listening. But yeah, God bless you if your
Are
team
you
is in the
not
Champions
really
League. Yeah, don't talk anything. Though. If your team is not in the Champions League and you're on this set, God will punish you. Anyway, let's move on. We've clowned Faruq enough. Let's talk about a more important trophy in the Unity Cup. Joba, after a rigorous penalty shootout on the same day as the Champions League final, my time. Unity Cup, they don't send anybody. They first put semi-final Nigerians game. They put at the same time as the Conference League final. Say choose one. If not that I have internet, I was able to watch the two together.
So
Then they now put the final on the day of Champions League final, but they
it
staggered
was 5 p.m.
put 5 p.m. You know, so but Nigeria emerged champions
over
Just-
Jamaica.
over
The only thing that I know Jamaica for is their dancer.
not even athletics. Wow.
And you can't beat Jamaica.
Jamaica are a good football team now, and we saw that they actually. And they did not even play with their first team.
That's
Wait,
what.
sorry.
That's
They
the
rested
point.
a lot of players for that
I
tournament.
just want to ask you, mean you saw them being a good football team against Nigeria or
that's-
generally?
No, that's what I said. Now,
Okay, because
Nigeria was the highest ranked team.
They're not a
in
good
the-
football team.
Nigeria was
generally.
the highest ranked team in the Unity Cup. So automatically we were favourites going into that tournament. So everything you feel about Jamaica's football is true. I'm not going to claim you are by gods for thinking Jamaica should not be good at football. But when they played us, they actually, held their own. Only to find out that this is not even our. This is not,
Isn't that a problem?
yeah, that's why I was asking managing editor. What do you say?
Idiots. anyways, to be honest, you could also make an argument that the Super Eagles didn't have their best players.
Osimhen and Lookman.
There is no Osimhen. Osimhen was basically celebrating with who in Turkey.
The Galatasaray.
Yes.
Those are the people that are celebrating.
In Turkey.
Inflation.
Lukman was busy in Lagos, showing off his. Unfortunately, he didn't trend on Twitter.
Bro. Say, like,
just pay influence.
there was a time in my life I used to believe that this Apple organic. Bro,
Yeah.
if look bad presenting his award to the president did not even come up on your feed at all. The only thing we know about it is because this is our job to know about it.
But when I did that story, asked him around 2 a.m. in the night.
Why?
No balls. Nobody cares.
So you could look at it, but I mean, there were some. To be honest, I was disappointed with the Super Eagles' performance, but there were some players that actually stood out for me. Benjamin Frederick, the Brentford youth player. It wasn't even supposed to be in the squad. It was called as a replacement, and then he was actually the best player on the pitch that day, especially in defense. Composed, they did not rush into tackles, and you could see that you can see that he has a bright future. I expect him to make the step up and play for Brentford's first team. Felix Agu also had a nice debut. So, and speaking of debuts, also, so Chris Santos Uche came on to make his debut and scored the winning penalty. So those were, and you could see that. Yes, this is really, really a really good player. I expect to see more of him. Silverdesta has also, even though he did not score, also showed why he should be, sorry to say, ahead of Boniface.
Oh, you sorry to say.
On the list, you understand? I mean, I think Boniface has had enough chances to impress and hasn't. Desas has scored more goals in less games compared to Boniface. So those players actually stood out for me. Samuel Chukwueze surprisingly also was brilliant, but with Samuel Chukwueze, just like in this one, you don't know what you're going to get with Samuel Chukwueze. But those three players are actually singled out: Benjamin Fredericks, Felix Agu, and then Desas and Chris Santos, which is
Was it someone I felt that a good time?
I mean, you know what you're going to get, but these players, I feel like they should get more opportunities, and we should start thinking of like, okay, moving forward instead of. And then what about Ahmed Musa? You invited.
Thank you. I saved that for the Ahmed Musa reporter over here. Fantastic. Let's even just get into that. So Ahmed Musa left the camp just before the Unity Cup final to quote, "Go and marry his fourth wife." These are things that happen in Nigerian football. First of all, why was he invited when the Unity Cup not only clashes with the Champions League final, but also clashes with his wedding? Number two, why did he accept the invitation knowing fully well that he could only play one game, which is what he came off the bench and did whatever he did against Trinidad and Tobago? So, as someone that has close proximity to the Musa camp, Tosin.
You need to understand the technicalities that go on in Nigerian football. And the importance of Ahmed Musa to that team, especially going into the final round of qualifiers, it cannot be overstated. Ahmed Musa,
This money never still finish.
Ahmed Musa, like when after the debacle of the last qualifiers that these guys equalized in the last minute, Zimbabwe. The morale was low. Nigeria's football federation and administration, they were already at a low point. They needed revitalization. And where do you get that? You get that from where you are supposed to get it, which is the source. Ahmed Musa. Now, Ahmed Musa just came to...
Do you mean these things you're saying? Like, are you saying?
Why would I say stuff that? Why would stuff come out from my mouth and I won't mean it? Like, what's the meaning of that?
Please, can we stop talking about what's coming out of your mouth?
Let me just wrap up with this point and say that this Nigeria doesn't have a future. Basically, if you look at it objectively, this
Nigeria football team.
whatever. They don't have a future, but at least you can create the illusion. You understand?
Future.
Yeah. So
With Ahmed Musa.
So when you know that a lot of Nigerian politicians and other entities, they value this tournament, they value the qualification process, and there's a lot of campaigns that will be going on into the qualification for the World Cup that is not going to happen. So you need to create that spark. How do you create that spark? You bring in one of the chief entities in Nigerian football history, in Ahmed Musa, to massage and put a bandage over cancer. That's basically what you do. So
Didn't we need that
That was
bandage?
an excellent
Don't ask a follow-up question. Don't ask a follow-up. Please, I'm begging you. I'm on my knees.
I
I'm
hope
sitting
he's
on my
paying
knees.
you.
I really don't believe Tosin.
I hope he's paying you, man. Because that was excellently done.
Wait, what do you mean you hope he's paying you? What you should be hoping is that he didn't make further payments.
That was excellently done.
Faruq has not seen anything from the payment. That's why I feel like.
No, see, let's just move on. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So
We really
most of
appreciate
us
it's my
like
pleasure.
this.
It's my
We really
pleasure.
appreciate it. We really appreciate it. We'll talk after the show regarding what we are entitled to for using our platform for this now. But yeah, still sticking with Nigerian national teams. The Super Falcons, 2-0 winners against Cameroon. It was a game, that did not
Twice
even
postponed.
have a definite kickoff date, let alone time, nor even set location at a point. And because the Only Football Podcast is always, wanting to be out there at the forefront of events, Izujugu Akao was at the MK Abiola Stadium in Ogun State to cover this game, and he speaks about the travails of the Super Falcons in general. So hear from the original fifth man of the Only Football Podcast.
Hello guys, Izuchukwu here, back from Abeokuta, where the Super Falcons took on Lioness of Cameroon, and of course, I'm here with a couple of points and a message. Of course, you can see I'm putting on the NFF this thing here hat on purpose, because my message will be for the NFF. I think the Super Falcons deserve more respect. They do deserve more respect, and I think from what I witnessed there in terms of logistics and the cancellation, and then of course these girls did not get to train in Abeokuta, the venue of the match against Cameroon. Arrived there on Sunday, only to find out that they would train in Djibouti. Djibouti is like 2 hours plus. I had to go to Djibouti. I was doing that throughout the time I was there. They trained there on Monday after the game was cancelled. They trained there on Tuesday after another. And then of course the match day they had to travel from there. They had to travel on the road that match day, 2 hours plus to Abeokuta to play this particular game. And when they got there, they couldn't come down. Had to wait. The match did not kick off at 4 p.m. as expected. I mean, how would they? For them to have traveled on the road, and it's obvious that the match wouldn't kick off at 4 p.m. But they were trying to get them to play at 4 p.m. It wasn't possible. The match did not kick off till 4:30 p.m. I mean, this is the national team we're talking about here. This is the Falcon, Africa's most successful team, and I think they deserve a little bit more respect. They deserve more from from the NFF, and this is just about next month. Is WAFCON. What are we saying? So I didn't quite enjoy this experience with the Super Falcons, and I am pro players here, and I think the NFF needs to treat these people with more respect. Like I said, they need to be taken seriously. So we keep hearing Mission X, Mission X, Mission X. How are these ballers going to achieve it without, full concentration, without, enjoying the best of preparations? Yes, I understand the friendlies. The friendlies are really good, but let us allow them enjoy the friendlies in good faith, right? And in relaxed mind. The coach mentioned that he was happy that the girls overcame all the whole logistical problems to put up that performance, and perhaps they affected them. They probably would have done more, but still, they still gave it their all at the end of the day, So why can we not make this thing easier for these girls? These are Nigerian heroes. These are Africa's most successful players, teams, and we should treat them as such. They've made Nigerians happy, and I think they deserve a little bit more respect. So and on this podcast, I know that is what we preach. We preach, seriousness. We preach fairness, and we want the Falcons to be treated the way they deserve, because they've given us everything and will give us even more. So please, NFF, this is to you, from someone who experienced it all. Please, we need these girls to concentrate. We need them to do us proud, and to do that, they need you people. Please take them seriously.
Yeah. So thanks to Yuzu for his thoughts. But yeah, contributions, guys. The Super Falcons is suspended. Ayoola.
I mean, it's clear. We saw a video recently about, or rather, from Michelle Aluzie in the interview where she talked about the players representing the national team and having to wash their training jerseys with their hands.
That's crazy.
I mean, someone like Faruq probably hasn't hand washed anything in years, and he doesn't even play for Nigeria. So,
but also not because he believes in technology. He's just very old fashioned.
I don't hand wash my jersey too.
I mean,
I wash with my.
Good for you. I'm very proud of you.
But on a more serious note, though, it's something that we've rarely ever seen. It was supposed to be 2 legs of a friendly tie, which first of all is already weird. 2 legs in the same country of the same friendly tie is already weird.
They do not have money for multiple friendlies.
And then when it now came down to it, they said Cameroon were not available for the first date. We're not available for the second date, and they had to make a third date. If this happened with the Nigerian men's team, they probably would decide that they don't want to play anymore. I mean, it's inherently disrespectful to the Super Falcons, and it just goes to show just how they are valued, even at the moment, even despite the fact that they're outspoken about all the things that happen to them. People usually say, oh, if you talk, they'll be too ashamed to do the nonsense.
Nigerian administrators.
Yeah.
Shame.
I mean, that's what people usually say, but at the end of the day, it's looking like even despite them talking, it's not really helping. And we have the WAFCON coming up, the Women's Africa Cup of Nations,
which they've been criminally underprepared for.
It's clear that again, this was their first friendly in over 6 months, and you have a competition just next month. When we eventually don't win the competition, then it becomes a case of the players are not good enough, they are not dedicated enough, etc. When it's been clear from the start that these guys have not been prepared well enough, so it's a disgrace.
And in spite of that, they still showed out. They won the game.
Yeah, they won the game.
Yeah,
Because of quality.
quality.
Cameroon didn't even qualify for the WAFCON, so it's not like we played one of the best
And
teams.
also NFF, just as they did with Let's Do It Again, they launched this Mission X, Super Falcons to win their 10th AFCON.
Sorry,
10th WAFCON title.
Sorry, can I just ask? Aren't the Super Falcons 11-time champions of AFCON?
No, the 2 are in dispute. 2 have always been in dispute. So officially it's 9, but we know it's 11.
No, so they want the like 10th AFCON title, and you look at it, I think they are trying to put the pressure on these girls. You understand, with the Mission X. In fact, we even received it for publishing a story on Mission X. That why like it's not something that we want the public to know, because we asked a couple of Falcon stars about Mission X. Even the players were not even aware about Mission X. However, I think they have a friendly game against Portugal.
Yeah.
Portugal, and I think Portugal who are also preparing for I think the Euros.
As you know, it's a great AFCON preparation.
Euros also. So I think that should help them. But I just think that the era of irrespective of whatever happens, Nigeria is going to win. Is over. Countries like even Morocco, they've caught up with us. Zambia. These countries are now showing that we don't fear Nigeria again, and I think this is a wake up call for NFF. You expect NFF to do the right thing and all that, but I mean I'm even tired of talking about Nigerian football.
So let's round up with a move away from Nigerian football, but still, ESPN, an organization which a lot of people seem to respect, especially their football branch, released a top 10 list, and they tagged it center forwards, top 10 center forwards. So not strikers, like pure strikers. Number 1, Kylian Mbappe, who I guess you can say is a center forward. Robert Lewandowski, number 2. Harry Kane, number 3. Erling Haaland, number 4. Lautaro Martinez, number 5. Alexander Isak, number 6. Julian Alvarez, number 7. Victor Gyökeres, number 8. Serhou Guirassy, number 9. And nothing but my head past number 10. Antoine Griezmann, who 1 is not a centre forward, 2 has not been top 10 anything since it was top 10 flop.
It seems they just named like the 9 pop strikers that people are talking about on Twitter, and then
including Griezmann.
No. Like they named 9. That they now realize that they had to do their mission X, so they just
funny.
Yes, okay, just put Griezmann.
There's clearly a missing, name here, and it's Ferran Torres. Sorry, I'm messing with you. I know you love Ferran Torres. Obviously, Victor Osimhen is not on the list. Justifiable.
Someone should even be there.
Victor Osimhen. The thing about this about that list is that like you said center forwards and you have Julian Alvarez and you have Antoine Griezmann. What are they smoking at ESPN? What kind of?
To be fair, Alvarez is a center forward.
But Griezmann is not like
so you can't have
both.
I agree.
So that's the list already is invalid that way. As for the addition of Victor Osimhen, I think we need to start getting it in our put things into perspective that Victor Osimhen may not be as highly rated as we Nigerians rate him.
Thank you so much.
That's something we need to also put.
It's not because
I saw one post that went viral on X. They said who is going to be the African footballer of the year. They put Hakimi, they put Salah. And somebody and there was so much outrage. I don't feel Osimhen should win the African footballer of the year, but like the outrage with Osimhen in that post was so much. There might have been an element of racism attached to it. So I'm just saying that like maybe we as Nigerians we value Osimhen so much we put him at an elevated status.
So tell me, Osimhen should not be a top 10 centre forward in a list that Griezmann and Guirassy.
I did say this. That
you were wrong then. Just because Tosin agrees with you doesn't mean you're not right.
Not even what I did say this. You were there. Tunde was there also. That Osimhen, we even had it at top 3. You guys had Osimhen top 3 strikers in the world, and I said no. I'm not going to have Osimhen as a top 3 striker in the world.
Of the 10 guys that are here, Osimhen is comfortably, in my opinion, 6.
I mean,
I don't know about comfort.
I don't know.
Osimhen ahead of Guirassy. Osimhen ahead of
Guirassy this season.
Okay, based on this season, probably I'll give you Guirassy. But even that,
when I said
ahead of Alvarez, ahead of Griezmann.
Ahead of Alvarez.
Yes,
this season.
Alvarez was outscored by his number 2. What are we doing here?
Charlotte was Atletico Madrid's top scorer.
Yeah.
He was outscored by his number 2. What are we talking about here? He was not a top 3 top scorer in La Liga.
To be honest, I'm not going to put Guirassy ahead of Osimhen.
But you look at the quality.
But the men not outscore Alvarez this season. What are we doing here?
You look at the quality of the league also.
Yeah, I get
it. Yeah, okay, I agree. But let's not
4.5 coefficient.
All right. Next week we'll probably have time to dive into the AFCON or the CAF Player of the Year nominees and what Tosin brought up. But for now, our producers are doing their favorite dance again, so we have to go. But Ayoola, do you have any fun facts?
Yes. So there's a player who has earned the nickname the Angel of Death, and can anyone guess why?
Whenever
Is it
I
around-
score, people dies.
No, it's not. No.
Angel of death.
Yes.
But whenever I score, people die.
No. It's actually because he has been bringing death to several clubs in terms of relegation.
He's just saying Rams.
So there are matches. I mean, we've heard of.
oh, there are matches.
We've heard of Ramsdale relegating
Granada.
everybody.
Southampton,
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth as well. But Matches has actually outdone him because he was at Cadiz. They got relegated. He moved to Granada next season. They got relegated. Then he moved to Valladolid and they got relegated. Then he got loaned to Cadiz and they got relegated. He went back to Valladolid and they got relegated again. So that's five consecutive relegations.
I mean, to be fair to the player and most players that are in this situation, is that their talent level is only to play for teams in that region anyway. So it is likely that you are going to see something. But yeah, shout out to Darwin Matches. That's just sounded wrong with my own Yoruba accent. Darwin Shano.
But you were talking, you were calling, mensch.
Anyway, yeah, that's the much of our package. We have a lot more to give you, but time constricts us.
And
so,
gospel.
Yeah.
And Victor.
Yeah. So since you have shouted out two of the crew, let's just shout everybody out.
Kayode
and
with half of
Efe
his vision.
and Mr. Wale.
Efe
and Mr. Wales.
Wale, and you shout out to them who's also sleeping or whatever she's doing back there. But yeah, thank you very much to everybody that's tuned in and enjoyed the production. If you listen up to now, don't lie to yourself. You like us. If you listen up to now, just go ahead and confirm your like by actually clicking the like button, subscribe and comment, and until we see you next week. Shout out to Tosin Abayomi for gracing us with his
Share to
presence.
your family and friends. Don't be greedy.
It's the least I can do.
Yeah, thank you very much. Your benevolence is very much appreciated, and we hope we get some of the Ahmed Musa funds this week.
See me in my office.
You don't even have. Until next week, please. Only football. Sign out.